Sports stories from the 419 in Northwest Ohio, brought to you by a voice you know. It's time to go around the area and around the Hearn.
I tried to figure out what to do this week, and I thought, we're going to take a look at the Midwest Athletic Conference, and who better to do that than the head boss and the commissioner, still in his infancy in doing that, but he's already doing big things at Robb Hemmelgarn, and he was so nice to spend some time with me. You're a very busy dude, it seems.
Hey, it's my pleasure, Mike. Anytime to promote the league and get to talk to you at the same time is always a good day, right?
Well, that depends on how it goes. I have long been a fan of the website, the MidwestAthleticConference.com, but you've taken it in a little bit of a different direction. When you looked at it, when you were coming in, we had talked a couple of months ago about kind of your overall plan and kind of things that you were going to do. But what was it that you just kind of looked at the website and said, okay, we can do it, we can be better, we can see my vision?
The biggest thing was just the format that it was on was a little outdated. So, pricing some of that out for that platform that it was on to update it. Figured we can do it a lot cheaper on my own. And, we shut it down for a couple months. I know, that was an inconvenience for some people, but, hopefully what we have on there now is when people go to the website, what they're looking for, especially the historical information, especially, the old records and that kind of stuff. The scores from last night, they may not be on there till the next day, but we blast social media at night and get the information out there. But, the website's just kind of it's the window of our conference. It's what people want to look up and see different records and things. And, we're updating it every single day. Every day, something new is going to be on there and fill in some gaps. And it's been good so far.
Well, and it's kind of funny because I've used this before, but a lot of your job, I would think, from day to day is you're kind of like a PR manager for the MAC.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it. Just promote the league and, our name's out there. So it doesn't, it doesn't need a lot of new promotion, but just, keeping it up there, the kids' names out there, the awards they win, the recognition. It's always good for the schools and most important for the kids.
Do you assume that there is somewhere that someone doesn't know about the Mighty Mac?
I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of you look at football and, a lot of the big Division I powerhouses, a lot of their fans, the true football fans, the true sports fans, know of the Midwest Athletic Conference, but the normal everyday person, maybe not.
I think it's probably sports fans across the state. They look at that bracket and they see MAC and they're just like, oh, these people again.
You got it.
Like, do we really have to deal with these people? I'm going to have to get my hard hat and my lunch pail out.
Exactly. And it's not something that just happened overnight, and they've known that for a long time. And the bar just keeps getting set higher and higher every year, and the teams and coaches respond to that, and it just makes the league even stronger every year.
And that's the thing, too, is, it's not just football, it's not basketball, it's volleyball, it's cross country, it's track and field. I mean, you name a state championship, and you can pretty much figure this out by looking at MidwestAthleticConference.com, but it's now pretty much any sport that someone lines up in. Baseball and softball are great examples of, they look across that line, like I was saying, and they're just, can we just get one time where, like, these people weed each other out and we don't have to deal with them over here in, Berlin or wherever?
Hey, sometimes I'll probably get in trouble for saying this, but oh well. Sometimes I think the district board does try to weed us out early, but, this year, especially in volleyball, we got, with the 7 divisions, it does spread things out a little bit. And we've got 6 teams playing for 3 district titles tomorrow night. So it's definitely, I didn't know what it was going to be like this year. A lot of MAC teams in just one district, but it is spread out now with the 7 divisions. So it's been a blessing for us. And we still got 8 teams out of our 10 playing volleyball right now. So.
And most of the state poll. I've had other coaches on here, and they have been a handful of MAC coaches who different sports have kind of opined about exactly what you're talking about of weeding each other out. I always go back to, I remember the volleyball district in Van Wert was the 4 top teams in the state. It was 3 MAC teams in Audubon, and Audubon had a tremendous team, and they kind of looked at the bracket of, really, we got to do this? But would you like to see, I mean, obviously as a coach and an administrator of the Southern District or the Eastern Districts do their seating differently, of the Northwest District is kind of a weird outlier. Would you like to see that change?
I would, and I know a lot of the coaches would. That was, a big thing this summer is I have basketball coaches, boys and girls, volleyball coaches, softball and baseball is the same way. They're like, hey, what can we do that our district, and we had several coaches outline plans to present to the district of this is how it can work. It's not, we've done the footwork on figuring this out, and it's not an easy process. It's not an exact science, but, the rest of the state, especially Southwest District, they're doing something right. They're getting their teams to state, and they're, it's not taking up any more days. Locations could be a thing, venues, that sort of thing, but it's something that, the conversation is always there, and the coaches are definitely in favor of that.
Well, then you can stop having St. Henry and Minster have to go play in Tiffin or some random location. We could always knock that down too.
Right. I agree. So hopefully in time we can establish something like that.
Talking to Robb Hemmelgarn, the head man of the MAC, and you talked about volleyball and about football. We'll get to those in a second, but I want to start and make sure the cross-country kids and people realize exactly what they're doing, because boy, oh boy, is there a huge list of runners doing big things in the MAC. The cross-country in Tiffin, Minster to Bremen, St. Henry, St. John's Parkway, and then you go down to Troy with Versailles and Fort Recovery. On the boys' side in Tiffin, you go Minster, Marion, Bremen, and down in Troy you get Versailles. I think that might be everybody talks about Minster, obviously, and for very good reasons, but I think that might be a big compliment of just how good all of these other teams are that also maybe people aren't paying enough attention to.
Right. And you get the Minsters and you get those, and it's like that in other sports too, but you get that team that sets the bar, and the other teams, they don't shoot to be that program. They shoot to make their program the best they can. And it just gives them a bar to shoot for, and it just makes everybody better. And, cross country, I'm going Saturday night, I'm going through the list of, the teams that advance, and then the individuals, and different districts are different on how many go. And I'm like, man, this list is getting longer and longer, and updating the website is not an easy task. So it was a long evening, but we got all those names in there. We put them out on social media, and it's great for the kids. We got so much great representation at the regional level. And I don't doubt it'll be that way for state the next week as well.
Well, and it's funny you say that, because you have that just for one conference. I often feel that way of overwhelmed, but to a blessed degree, because with my podcast, I try to hit like 9 counties, and that's 100 schools. All right, times, 4 sports at a time. And like, I look at it and go, this is a really neat problem to have. But then I'm always worried I'm going to miss that one kid, because I just was reading it and my brain just sort of, skimmed a line of, no, that wasn't one of them. I can't imagine you having to try to do that on your end.
It's my passion. I love doing, especially historical research, especially historical sports for the MAC. So it's something that I've done for 20 years anyway. It's just a matter of getting that information out of a filing cabinet and online so other people can enjoy it. And, we put all that out there, and, the kids see their names. Yeah, you're always worried you're going to miss somebody. And, anytime you make a mistake, I get a text or an email within a few minutes. Hey, you put the wrong score in, or this is the wrong, it's like, yeah, sorry about that, and we fix it as quick as we can. And it's not going to be perfect, but we get as much out there as we can.
The good news is people are paying attention.
Yeah, that's good. Exactly.
Grandma Betty down in Florida's got to see her granddaughter or grandson's name.
Yep. And there's a lot of them on there, and we're going to do our best to keep that going. Oh, I was going to say, in the past we've had the leaderboards or we've had the graphics, but it was on such a small scale. It was the quote unquote bigger sports, the ones that have, 1,000 people in attendance. But we've really, especially this fall, we've hit on boys and girls golf. We've hit on the cross country, and, they work just as hard in the off season, and they have just as much success and deserve the recognition as well. So hopefully everybody can see that and appreciate it, and we'll keep it going.
I know with what you do, every sport is obviously equally as important. Every gender is equally as important as it should be. But do you find yourself at times maybe, slanting a little bit more towards putting a little bit more into being able to make sure you hammer home, say, something like cross country that not everybody's paying attention to, because everybody knows that it's week 10 of high school football?
Right. The biggest thing with that is honestly is tracking down scores. I try to get a representative from each town or each team to just say, hey, at the end of the night, I'm not at, say, Parkway's cross country meet up in Wayne Trace or whatever it is. Can you just send me your score or what place you got out of how many teams? And most of the time people are pretty good about that. But if I don't have somebody to do that for me, trying to track down stuff online is difficult at times. Football is easy. I mean, football and basketball and those sports are really easy, but sometimes the golf and cross country and, I know track will be that way and bowling could be that way, but, it's just getting those scores and tracking them and trying to keep track of all that.
Well, I know that between you and your website and your social media, and I won't give him away, but the gentleman that runs the @MacScores Twitter, I pretty much don't have to think of anything in the MAC. I'm glad that you guys are taking care of that for me, so thank you for that.
Hey, no problem at all.
A little bit inside. We taped this on a Tuesday. Last night on Monday, there were a lot of volleyball games taking place. Every match but one involving a Midwest Athletic Conference team went 3-0. Coldwater over Marion, Minster over Van Buren, New Bremen and Riverdale, Knoxville and Hardin Northern, St. Henry Crestview. But the stunner of that group was St. John's with a 15-5 fifth set against Arlington. All of those teams will play again this week, and that's not even counting what happened with Fort Recovery and Versailles. How proud are you to look at standings and look at scores? I know some of them are hard when two MAC teams play each other, but of just what volleyball has done in this area.
This season's been kind of an anomaly and really amazing. You look at, especially I'll point out St. John's and Minster. They both finished 9 and 10 in the MAC. They're both playing for district titles tomorrow night. It just, again, goes to show the depth of the competition, and half their schedule is, a little bit less than half their schedule is against the best competition in the state. But the coaches also, on the other half of their schedule, their non-conference, they're scheduling the Fort Larmies. They're scheduling the Ottovilles. They're scheduling these teams to make themselves better with their conference. And, Minster goes 0-8, 0-9 in volleyball. A couple teams have a losing record, but once they hit tournament, as long as they're not facing other MAC teams, they roll pretty well.
Talking to Robb Hemmelgarn, the commissioner of the MAC, and I have to ask you this because we've kind of joked about this during interviews before, but how much guff do you get from people you obviously have a pretty hard connection to Minster with everything that you've done, of people saying something to you, rather jokingly or rather actually being annoyed of, oh, okay, well, of course, if something happens, you're going to look more this way because of your ties.
No, I haven't gotten really anything, at least not to my face. So, it's one of those things that I'm a representative now to all 10 schools where, a year ago, I did my stuff behind the scenes. I coached at Minster, and I have kids that play at Minster. So obviously that's where my ties are going to be. But now it's all 10 teams and Anna and football, and we root for them all and promote them all the best we can.
I think you're still new enough. People haven't they haven't figured out how to take a shot at you yet.
Sure. Yeah. I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
We'll find out. Big volleyball matchups tonight as we air this. Fort Recovery, Arcanum, Coldwater, St. Henry. That'll be a banger. Minster and New Bremen, at Knoxville and St. John's. Just how do you look at it, and how do you determine where you're going to go each time?
I try to rotate, especially with volleyball. I had a chance to see all the volleyball teams play this year. Not always on their home floor. Got a chance to see all the football teams. Not always at their home field, but I have had a chance to see. Now, golf is a little bit more difficult, but made it to both MAC matches. I try to get out there, and if there's a night I'm not working for the newspaper, I'll just go and sit and watch and talk to some people there and enjoy good sports.
How do you kind of balance that difference, though, between you've got all the Northern District teams and the Northwest District to Thursday of Versailles and Dayton Christian, and then having Fort Recovery down there as well, of having that start and then kind of having to go back and forth between that and the Northwest District?
Yeah, the farther along you get in tournament, obviously, the better or the easier it becomes. But do the best I can and try to be everywhere for trophy presentations and catching games. Otherwise, I'm usually reaching out to somebody I know is at the game to keep me updated on how things are going.
Golf had a big week and a big year. We talked about that with everything going on when it was warmer and nicer out. But this weekend is still supposed to be nice for Week 10 of high school football. Just a huge slate. Parkway, Anna, New Bremen, St. John's, Fort Recovery, Minster, Versailles, St. Henry. And I think there's a scrimmage or a skirmish going on in Coldwater.
Yeah, you might as well get in line right now to get into that game, because that's going to be one of the biggest MAC games as far as, just circumstances all around it. Just one of the probably biggest in MAC history. I know there's been some big ones, but two teams going for the title. You've got Marion looking to set the state consecutive wins record. It's just an amazing game. The weather is going to be nice. It's going to be a great atmosphere. 50-50 is going to be huge, but you might want to get Ubered in, because I don't know that parking is going to be very easy down that way.
Yeah, can you imagine just the money you should be able to charge surge pricing for Uber in Coldwater, Ohio on a Friday night?
You'll see the signs in the front yard like you do at concerts and different things like that, races. And
yeah, you'll have to park at the school and just try to golf cart your way down. But how cool is that, though? Because I know that there is a ton of media. Unfortunately, I'm not there, but I have heard about all the people that are going to be there, and I've talked to a handful of the guys doing the games there. And to just look at that and go, this is the biggest game, not only in Ohio, but potentially one of the bigger games in the nation, because everybody's looking at that big number behind Marion and saying they can break the winning streak in Ohio. It's one of the longest, I believe, in the top 10 in the country. But to just see it and go, well, this is pretty neat. Let's all just take this in.
Yeah. Yep. And I hope people do, like, just the fans of both schools. It's year after year, the success after success. I really hope they sit back and soak this one in, because this is going to be a special night for both schools, and just a special way to end the regular season. And then hopefully they each got 6 more weeks left in them. So
they would like to prove the old joke of it's easier to win a state title than it is to win the MAC.
Exactly.
Which is crazy within itself, but I tell that to people all the time. They say, "What do you mean?" I said, "Think about it. The MAC had 3 teams who won a state title in the same year. It's never been done before. 2 of those teams did not win the conference, and I think one of those teams finished like 4th or 5th that year. So it just goes to show you things are going well down there."
Exactly.
When you kind of look at this overall, I mean, how has this flip been for you? This experience been for you? I know a lot of work, but to just kind of be able to be the overseer of the whole thing.
It's been great. I mean, anytime you take on a new endeavor, something like this, you don't know what you don't know. And there was a lot that I didn't know going in, but it's been stuff I've been able to grasp pretty easy and add it to what, the vision is that I thought it was going to be. And now that we know how to run meetings and when bills need paid and what correspondence to send out and doing the all MAC voting, it's just been a lot that it'll be now the same every year, and you kind of build on what you learned, and it's been amazing.
My one big thing that I just learned that I wanted to ask you something different, but I'll finish with this. How awesome is it to be able to look at the way the league has grown and the fact that you can go across any different sport and every team in the conference has won a state title?
Yeah, it's really cool. And it's something that, like I said, it does not happen overnight. And, you look at the historical stuff and how things started back in the, early mid 1970s. And you go through the records from each of those years and the sports from each of those years. And you can really see just this gradual climb, not just from one team. Next year, it's 3 or 4 teams all have winning records. Then everybody, it's really cool to see, especially when you look at the historical side of it. And it's something that we want to keep continuing. And I know our coaches and our athletes, they work their tails off year round to keep that going.
Well, I can't thank you enough. I'm excited for what you're doing. I love the website, again, MidwestAthleticConference.com, of exactly how you make it easier for jabronis like me to do our job. And I hope I'm able to see you down the road here somewhere soon.
Hey, I hope so too. And one last thing, if people are listening, if you get on the website and you're looking for, MAC standings for, say, girls basketball, 1984, and your school's, their record is missing out of there.
Honestly.
Well, you never know what kind of an argument needs settled wherever. But, if you're ever looking at something and we have information missing, shoot me an email or text, because, I'm always researching and always looking, and some things it's easier to find than others. I mean, last night I'm on the online archives of Mendon Union's yearbooks up through 1991, trying to see what their girls basketball record was in 1982. Boom, it's in there. So every day we're adding stuff on. So if anybody ever sees anything, let me know, or any ideas you have to even make it better. So we're always listening.
So what he's saying is he's got a new business card. It says Robb Hemmelgarn, Commissioner of the MAC / Tavern Argue Settler.
Yes, very good. I guarantee it definitely spikes up on the weekends, the traffic to the website. So
thank you, my friend.
Hey, thank you for having me, and good luck to you this weekend.
Back with more here in just a couple of minutes.
We hope you've enjoyed this edition of Around the Hearn. Come back next week for more local stories from the NWO. But until then, be sure to follow us on Twitter @Michael Hearn PBP for more great area content.